Hi, sensitive woman. I'm so enthusiastic today to launch this new episode of the podcast Healing Temple by Eya Shaman. So today I have a very special guest who is called Marilor. She has already had 3 lives. She's an entrepreneur. She's a woman. She's a mother. She has a lot of experience to share also as a practitioner, like a GP, generalist doctor. And she's here today to share an experience and story, a life story, not only professional wise, with us. So I'm really, really deeply happy to be here, but also to welcome Marilor. Welcome, Marilor. Would you like to share your story and introduce yourself to the sensitive women who are listening to us?
Hello, everybody. I'm very honored to be there with you today, and thank you, Eya Shaman, for the invitation. So I'm Marilor. I'm a French woman in her young 50s. And so in a few words, I had 2 mothers' lives and 3 professional lives. I dealt with Western medicine, Chinese medicine, hypnosis, psychology, energetic. And today I'm a life coach to help people to make sense with what life brings in their way, on their path. And I try and cultivate the being, the fact that being in the very moment is the only way to be totally united.
Thank you very much, Marilor. So thanks also to bring back this sense of unity, belonging, and to be really holistically connected towards the heart, the body, but also the higher self. Can you please explain about the title of your activity as a life coach? What does that mean, and what is the meaning behind it?
Okay, so I'm an entrepreneur, and my company is called Light Path. And the subtitle is Let's Clear Up Your Path Together.
Wow.
What it means? Well, I concentrated in these few words many of my inner values. That is, for example, life can only put gifts on our path. But sometimes the wrapping is so ugly, we don't even want to open it up. So if you light it on the right way, you will find, you see the golden little thing inside, and you can't see it if there's not a brilliant light over it. So light path is to enlighten what life gives us, to make sense and find the gold inside. And we'll only keep the gold. The trash will be left away. Light path is also the opposite of heart path. I think we don't need to make drama. I think we don't need to suffer. We can also learn from joy and love, not only from pain. And that's why I chose an English name, even if I'm working in France with many of non-English spoken people. But I couldn't give the 2 significations of light in French. I didn't find the way.
Thank you very much. And based on what you just shared, how do you connect to your darkness, or what you may perceive as this reflection of light, but not only the shadow work, but how do you help and support women to get into that path and then to reconnect to their inner light?
Well, I do it in many ways. My main tool is called quantum communication. It helps me to read the unconscious mind of people coming to me and give words to their inner laws, the one they projected through their lives, often not knowing. And it's just a matter of interpretations when they were children of what happened to them. There are also laws from the other generations and laws from other lives and laws from the collective unconscious. And we're doing a melting pot with all of this. And depending on what we are learning, we'll pick a law by here, a law by there. And the danger is to say, oh, it's not my fault, you see, it's my grandmother who did da 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 da. Or it's not my fault, it's a past life where I did da 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 da. But what I propose is that, okay, these laws were serving your present moment for you to learn something. Let's try and learn it softly. We can just write down, what am I learning? And then with this practice of being, just let all my parts that were split away and torn apart, let's just then bring them together as one in this moment.
Wow. And because you really refer a lot to unity and the sense of not only being able to read holistically a person, but to really encompass every part of yourself, of herself, back together, and to really have this connection, interiority. But at the same time, you also refer to autonomous behaviors and the responsibility. How do you embody the autonomy into your practice?
I am not the one who reads invisible and tell you what to do. I'm just a secretary, okay? So if I write your words, I will need your understanding of these words and what it does to you in your body, in your feelings. Because when you read your own inner words, something happens. And every session is a co-creation. I don't control anything. We are a team, and we are, you see, I hold the light, and you make your choice, and you make your decisions about what you live. So it's very, very important to me to stay at my place and let the people in front of me responsible for their choices. I just open space and hold the space that allows this choice to be, that allows the movement in what seems stuck in their life.
And regarding this present time, this present moment, let's assume that we are into coaching live sessions together.
Mm-hmm.
How can you help the woman which has a very a high analytical mind, and when they have, this tendency of having some back and forth from here now. So I'm trying to connect to myself, but at the same time, I have this crazy monkey in my head and some thoughts coming into how do you help and support the woman to connect back to here now, and so to go through this very autonomous process, because it's quite deep what you describe as a process. Yes.
I don't only practice it in my sessions, I also teach it. So people can learn what I do. I don't have any superhero power, you see. I'm just a human being, and it's just a way of using our brain and our thoughts that we didn't learn at school. So when there are these monkeys jumping everywhere, you live in Indonesia, so your example is with monkeys. I live in France, so my example could be in a school, you see, when it's time for playground and there are children running everywhere, and some are fighting and some are singing and dancing. It's just as if I am in the middle of the playground and I'm kicked by one and hurt by another one. How can I connect to my inner peace even if I know that my inner peace still exists? I just can't. And the idea is not to lock every children in their classroom and be quiet. That's not the way to do, you see. But maybe I can get out of the playground and find a soft place around and take my book and read peacefully. And children are still playing in the playground, but I don't focus on them. So if I explain it more clearly, of course, we have thoughts and feelings and every distractions that want to take all our conscious and awareness, which is not exactly the same for me, all the time. And often we can only put our conscious on one point. We are in the playground or we are reading our book. And what I teach to people is doing both at the same time, changing or by and. There is room for every part of me. And if I allow them all to be, and not trying to say, you are the first one I want to deal with, and you, well, no, I don't even want to hear about you, that can't work. They will fight together. They will be in competition for me to look at them. If I tell them, hey, we are all one, at this very moment, I need more this connection to me, but I know you are there. I don't forget you. And please join in and take this piece with you, you see?
And I just would like to understand this relationship, because you just refer, so human being, and then in connection towards others, in connection with the environment, in connection with higher self, because connected back to the heart in terms of the unity, because of your experience also and your holistic reading of the people and situation. How do you provide a coachee or a student, if I understand well, with a perception or a tool that they can use and activate very concretely, very simply in their daily life, to recenter in the middle of this ground? If you are in a kindergarten and you are swapped, or if you are just, for example, in front of an audience at work and you need some slow motion to recenter to yourself before you are gonna go for public speaking, or if you are in a family moment together and you need just some space for yourself. How can you just give a concrete tip or example? How do you proceed?
Often the part of us that talks the loudest is emotional. And often we just dive in our emotional and it takes all the place. And we can even forget all other parts. When I do what I call the quantum points, I will be with the situation. So I'm here just before my conversation, my professional conversation, and I will be with the people, the room, the heat maybe, my emotion, my fears, my all my competence also, all I can do, all the places where I know I'm good at, you see? And I will just be with what is. And emotional is not that important at this moment. It's just a part of the complete paint, I would say. I need this part because it gives it life. But it's one among the others. And in a family situation, as you said, I will be with my children and they need to tell me everything about their day, and maybe they're a little angry for something, and as they know I love them, probably their anger will come to me because they know I can deal with. And maybe my husband is worried about something, and maybe the cat wants to eat at the same time, you see? And I would just want to celebrate my plate and smell it and enjoy it, you say? I'll do the same. I will be with what is. And I will give back the responsibilities to every people. I will let the anger to my children. And even if they throw it to me, I can just let it go and say, well, it's not my business. I love you, but it's your anger. And if my husband is worried and all closed and clumsy, and you see, I say, well, that's your choice. I choose to enjoy this meal. I'm not responsible for that. I'm just responsible for my feelings, for what I do with this moment. All the rest is not my responsibility. And it's not mental things. It's really a way to bring my consciousness. I keep in link with all these parts, and I'm not happy that my husband is worried, and I'm not just like I don't care that my children are in their anger. You see, I keep in link with them. I can have compassion for them, but at first, me first. It's not being selfish. It's just doing things in the right way. You see, just like in plane, when the steward tells you, in case of necessity, there will be oxygen, and you put the mask on you first, and only after you look around if anybody needs help. And the same thing, I'm responsible for my inner peace. Sometimes, I should say often, when I when I'm successful in doing this, my inner peace can spread into the room, and everybody will settle down and be calmer, and the meal will be different.
Definitely.
And it's magic, you know. It's written in all the ancient books for thousands of years that we're all linked together. And we often hear, oh my God, we're linked even to bad people. Okay, but let's take it on the other way. And let's use this link to share also light and love.
Correct. And I just would like to bring this topic because it's really coming into my way the last few days. So because you refer to this relationship, so being in contact basically with one another, yourself first, and then the environment, the family, the conditioning. So you have referenced many of the dimensions that you touch upon in your work, in your daily life. How can you also eventually support, or what is your perception? How do you feel about collective weight? To give a very concrete example, so the last few days we have had flooding situation here in Bali, and I'm also connected to many people and nationalities who live here, but their countries is at war for now, or they are devastated because of climate change effect. So there is a lot ongoing for now, and the energetic level playing field is also kind of shaking. How can you, because really as a sensitive, hypersensitive woman, sometimes, especially if you go on the empathy, like if you are yourself an empath, or if you can just relate, and as deeply as you describe, so to your family, to the environment, to the context, it can be in any situations and fields, of course. How do you step back? How do you position yourself in front of this collective weight or collective history, or how do you relate to that?
The links work in both sense. I mean, collective can weigh on me, and I can also give something to the collective. Often I see people are suffering so much because they have their part of suffering and they support a part of the collective suffering. And when we make the difference, they just have their suffering left, and it's so easy to carry because it's adapted to what they can carry. And once again, it's not a way of saying, well, I don't care, it's not my business. That's not that at all. It is, if I let the collective thoughts knock me down, I will just feed all these heavy feelings inside the collective. If I apply this way of being with what is, and for me, before all, and let's imagine, even if the situation is really complex and hard, because sometimes we really have hard times. You see, I'm not in a fairy world where everything is fine, and you see, that's not right. Sometimes we really have hard things, heartache, and so on. But if by chance I can find just 1 second of peace, often this peace is in the moment. Maybe I will just say, oh, when I woke up this morning, I opened 2 gifts. They were my eyes, I can see. Or just breathe. Just, that's so good to breathe. And of course, that's the time when you say, well, Marilor, you're really funny with your stories, but that won't stop war. And I will say, you're right, that won't stop war. But that is peace. And this peace, I won't keep it for myself. I will offer it to the collective. Like a seed I put inside for it to bloom. If we just feed the collective with fear and pain and suffering, it can just give us that. It's again our responsibility to put seeds of joy and light and happiness inside. Of course, in the beginning, it's just so little. You see, like a very little seed in mud. You won't see it. You won't see it until it started to grow. And if it's a baobab seed, at the end, it will count. You see, if we are many people could put seeds like that in the mud of collective wars and suffering in the world, one day it will be a fantastic forest. And maybe not that far from here. So it's very important to realize that when we are sensitive, often we just receive, but we can also emit. And that's a superpower for sure.
So in terms of the light reflection, and thank you for sharing that because it's so meaningful to me also. In order to be able to have your lives and also to make your choice. So what about the roots? How do you ground yourself? How do you literally anchor yourself on a daily life? In your daily life, like how do you, yes.
You see, I started being, as you said, a doctor. So I started with the body, how it works, how it's born, how it's dead, and all this material. And that is the starting point to me. It's so comfortable usually to be in the energetic fields, to be with the high self, to be with angels and fairies, and that's a part of reality. It's okay for me. And I don't want my body and the incarnation to be the bad side of the story. I want it to be a part of it in the good way. So I just use my body to anchor me. And feel and see how I breathe. But I also choose to limitate sometimes my sensitivity, especially in the morning. You see, I just wake up and I don't want to be invaded by all the feelings and sensations of the whole world, as it might be. So I will use my remote control And I won't open the door and the windows as soon as I wake up. I first be with myself, and I ground myself, and I say, oh, I'm back in that body. Let's make it a fine moment. Let's make it sweet. And I put it as a condition for my whole day. You see? And I know that if I need in the day, at any moment, I can use again my remote control and shut windows and doors and come back to that moment in the morning and say, I'm in a safe place. Even if sometimes my back ache or something like that, it's my body, I'm alive. Of course, I also know energetic practices to connect with the heart of Earth, of Gaia, with the heart of the universe. And I love to feel that being a pillar of light from Earth to universe. That is also a great way to anchor me. But it started with my body.
Sure, and this is really critical, like healing practices for myself. I'm a dancer, so I like to have this comparison, to start with some grounding. So of course it's really to put my feet on the floor, right on the soil. So earthing, and yes, to be here and now, as you just expressed. So in order to also connect deeply inwards and to be able to have the senses and eventually these extra perceptions, first to be here and now and to just, I don't know, for example, sense the hair and the breeze coming to my skin, and to be totally conscious. And because I am usually surrounded by many women, very sensitive, who have this tendency to disconnect, from the body and from these not only emotions or feelings, but really because they feel overwhelmed the way it is present, I don't know, outside or even within a room. So it really depends on your level of sensitivity. But you bring, this very powerful tool, very pragmatic in your daily life, to be able to recenter. And in case you go through some roller coaster or storm throughout your day, you can also just come back to this very moment. So thank you very much for sharing that. And I'm just a little bit curious about how do you balance your private and professional life? Because as many sensitive women, especially if you're an entrepreneur working in the energetic fields or any other fields, basically, and you have this daily perception and you are in connection with, of course, not only the collective, but like we are all one, as you described. And I really, really relate to that. Yes, how to find this balance of being an entrepreneur, being a woman, being a mother, being a friend, to have some activities for yourself. How do you encompass and bring back, some balance, like in your agenda?
Well, I forgot the idea to find a static balance. I can't manage. So I'm learning moving balance. Our body is constantly adapting our strength, our tension in the muscles, and so we can stand up, you see. We're not just a rock. If we could watch it very, very precisely, we would see that even the most, let's say, you see these soldiers when they are the parrots, so strong, so raw, they're not rocks. They are very softly coming back and forth, and that's how they keep their balance. And so in my life, all the missions you've said, see, being a mother, being a wife, being me, of course, being a friend, being an entrepreneur, being a therapist, and so on, they're all parts of me. And I am with all these parts. But depending on the moment, one part will be very useful to me and one won't be. When I'm at work, I'm an awful mother because I don't think about my children. But that's okay. You see, it's like in these video games when you choose your character. I say, well, no, I need, which one do I need? Well, I will take this one. Oh, maybe I could take that hat with because it would be so nice. You see, it's a game. It's a game and it's never perfect. But I'm also okay with my non-perfection.
Oh, yes, like you just referred to moving balance and this perfection, imperfection of human, yeah, just be here now. So I'm totally imperfect and I like it very much. Sometimes it's difficult to embrace, right? How do you accept that not everything is ever perfect, especially when you are at work? If you can just again give a concrete example, when you consciously made yourself aware, oh, yes, okay, this is not perfect. I also totally authorize myself being not perfect. And yes, I'm just here now. I cannot, be the mother, this person, like everyone in a row. I'm just here now. So what is the, the result out of it? If you could just share a moment that you felt, oh, I'm aware this has arisen, and it's okay. I can pursue with the situation as is.
I used to be first married with a man, and we had 3 children together. And there came a moment when I decided to leave. I won't share the reasons why, it's not the purpose, but I lived a few weeks or maybe a month being totally cut in 2 parts. There was a part in me that was crying and crying because my couple was over, because we were going to divorce, and I was making a fuss with my children's life, and I didn't manage it, and oh no, I was not perfect at all. And the other part of me was telling me, oh, how lucky I am. It's a major crossroad in my life, and I live it consciously. I'm an actor. I won't be a victim. But they didn't communicate these 2 parts, you see? And so it really was a roller coaster. And even that, I managed to accept it. I should say my animal part, you see, needed this sadness, needed these tears to clear up the last story and be able to start a new one. And if I forced me to be strong and not to cry and eat and sleep, which I didn't do at that time, I don't know how I would have crossed. And well, I would have crossed, of course, but I don't know how I would have reunited in me. So I heard my wise part, and I asked him just time for my feeling part that needed time. And at what moment they joined together.
Thanks for sharing, because it's really part of our intimacy, and what you share authentically is really it does really give a lot of profondeur in French. How would you recommend to pass through a very difficult cycle, as you just expressed, so to have a clear beginning but clear ending? But meanwhile, when it's really uncertain, that you're navigating through uncertainty, and this part of yourself are, they are not fighting, but they are perfectly present, right? And both of them do not have the same interest, and they are not nurturing the same part of yourself. Nevertheless, they are, and they are also one. How can you soften? How can you help to go through and pass through this step?
What helped me a lot is to realize that our different parts don't grow at the same speed. They don't change, they don't learn with the same speed. And I like when things clear up easily, but sometimes it's not just possible. So my slower part seems to need more help than my faster. And if my slower parts are emotional or physical, I will take care of them. So my first advice is ask for help. Sometimes we have the resources inside, but sometimes we are not able to accept them by ourselves, and we need help. And it's not being weak, it's just being realistic and pragmatic to get better. You see? So, yeah, be courageous, ask for help, and take care of the part of you that could be left behind if you don't take attention to them. In that period, I asked for a massage to soften my body. I made gong bath, you see? Many other tools. I also did some constellations because I said, well, there's something to understand with my lineage and my family, and I really don't want to live this a second time. So I'm gonna learn everything I can learn from that situation and arise it through a constellation. So I take note and I do different in the next time. But it doesn't mean that you need massage, that you need Kong bath, and that you need constellations, you see?
If you had only one experience or one activity that allows you being, what would that be?
What comes first to me is sing. Sing with others. Because when you sing in a group, of course there's your voice, but then it's mixing with other people's voice. And there is a kind of magic, you know, like in the song of Queen, a kind of magic. And there is something more than each voice taken apart. And I am me, I sing my voice, and I'm also with the other people, because if I don't listen to them, we won't sing together. And singing is really, for me, a fantastic experience of being me and being us all the same at the same time.
Do you want to sing?
I don't know what it would be like with the recording, but you know, I always have a music inside me. I call it the music of the moment.
So in order to wrap up, because we went through a lot together and I'm very, very thankful for that. If you could bring some light, you know, towards the path of some sensitive lady, woman, mother, entrepreneur, whatever, you know, you relate yourself to. As an ending word, like what would you wish to bring as an offering to them?
I can share with you the practice of being here with what is. It's kind of self-healing, and you can use it at any moment. It will sound like a little meditation, but once you've done the travel, you can go straight away to the aim without doing the whole road, you see? So if you want to get to that particular set of consciousness, it's not altered consciousness, it's expanded consciousness, which is not exactly the same. I will invite you to sit or lay down comfortably. Maybe you want to close your eyes or you won't, and it doesn't really matter. And you will put a finger on your leg, just the edge of the finger on your leg, and feel the contact. The skin of your finger feels your leg. Maybe your skin or your trouser or anything. And your leg feels the contact of your finger. You can feel the contact by both sides at the same time, from the finger and from the leg. And let's imagine, let's assume that you can even feel the space between your finger and your leg. When you put your finger on your leg, you feel your finger, you feel your leg and the space between them. these sensations, you can let your mind or your inconscious translate it to a color maybe, or a sound, or a word, or a symbol, anything that could resume all you feel when your finger touches your leg. And keeping that, you will now put your left finger on your left leg, on the other side. You have all the feelings on the right side, and now you do the same on the left. And so you feel your left finger, your left leg, and the space between them. And just as you did before, you allow your mind, your subconscious, to give a color or a sound or a symbol to that contact on your left. Now you have two feelings of contact, one on the right and one on the left. And you will just let them join. If your mind is starting to say, well, how can I do that? It's impossible. Just show it that from your right finger going through your right arm and your shoulder and your heart, and then getting down to your left shoulder and your left arm and your left finger, they are connected. So these two spaces can just connect in one. When two becomes one, you're in a special state inside, which I called being. And I'm sure it's not a discovery for you, because it's a place where you go every time you're doing something and don't even see how time passes away. But what I will ask you now to do is bring back that being state in your current state of mind. If you just keep that 2 points in one and open your eyes and also include what is around you, comfortable or not, you have an extending consciousness in the being, in the present. And if there's something with you, your consciousness will also include the other person, the relationship with him or her. And you are with what is. How is it for you?
I'm feeling so relaxed. Such a pleasure, in fact, to reconnect again. You can go really deep inside, and when you gave that texture in a way to connect back with the skin, and then to go to the leg, whatever, left or right side, I was already going deeper and trying to feel and sense what is inside. So really, in terms of not only the organs, but how do I feel within my leg, and going to It's such a delightful moment because, as you just explained, I'm just here now, so everything is open. My heart is also open. I'm perfectly connected to my body, and I'm feeling so peaceful inside. It's such a pleasure, really. Thank you very much for the gift, for offering that very moment to everyone who is gonna listen here now to the podcast.